welcome back once again. Today we shall discuss about Bohr's model for hydrogen atom. As the name suggests, this model was primarily applicable for hydrogen and one electron species. Like children, you know, in hydrogen atom there is only one electron present, and helium, if you take helium, there are two electrons. But we can also discuss about helium having a one electron, that is He positive, and lithium having a lithium is having a three electrons, and from that two electrons are lost, it becomes a Li2 positive. So these are actually our one electron species, we can say. Okay, this hydrogen or helium positive or lithium 2 positive, these are one electron species. So the Bohr model was primarily applicable for hydrogen and one electron species. Now let us see some of the postulates given by Bohr. Niels Bohr was the scientist who proposed this model of atom. According to this model, the first postulate says that electrons are revolving in circular orbits. These circular orbits are well-defined circular orbits. Even Rutherford also had explained about circular orbits, but he did not explain about well-defined circular orbits. That is actually, if there is a nucleus, there are well-defined circular orbits are there. These orbits are also called stationary states. Okay, these are the orbits, we can say. All these are orbits. Orbits are the stationary energy levels according to Bohr model. Okay, that is the first one. Electrons revolve in circular orbits. Second one is the energy of electron does not change with time. Means if there is an electron present in the orbit of an atom, that electron, when it is revolving or moving in the circular path, it does not change its energy with time. Means after some time it will be having some other energy or something like that. When it is in the fixed orbit, we are talking about when it is revolving in the circular orbit, that particular stationary orbits, when they revolve, they do not change their energy. Okay, let's see the third one. When these electrons absorb certain amount of energy, they will actually go into an excited state. That means in the first we have discussed that electrons are revolving in circular orbits. Second, we have seen that energy of electron does not change with time. But third, what we are discussing is when electrons absorb energy, what do? They may jump and go into the higher energy levels. That is actually the those energy levels they reach. Now it is not found here. It is found in the excited state. How do they reach that excited state? They actually take the energy, that is the quanta of energy. See, this Bohr theory is explained on the basis of Planck's quantum theory only. Okay, so according to Bohr, electrons may absorb a certain amount of energy in the form of h nu. E is equal to h nu, isn't it? So that quanta of energy they will absorb, and they may go into a higher energy levels, that is called excited state. Second point what we have discussed is when they are revolving in the particular stationary states, they do not change their energy, but they can absorb energy and they can go into a higher energy level called excited state or higher energy level, we can say. Fourth point is these energy levels are numbered as K, L, M, N or 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay, so according to Bohr, there is nucleus which is there in the middle of the atom, that is a positively charged nucleus, and there are energy levels. This is the first energy level, you can call 1, or you can also say n is equal to 1, and this is the second one, n is equal to 2, and this is n is equal to 3. This also can be called K, L and M, N, etc. Okay, there can be different n number of energy levels can be seen. These energy levels are numbered K, L, M, N or 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Now, fifth point we have is only those energy levels are permitted who's having an angular momentum of mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi, or you can say h by 2 pi. Okay, mvr here we have explained is the angular momentum. When you multiply mass into velocity into radius, that is actually the momentum of a moving particle in a orbit. So this is, we are considering about electron revolving in the circular orbits, correct? So circular orbits, whenever a substance revolves, even it can be the angular momentum of planets revolving around the sun. Okay, so angular momentum means the momentum possessed by the moving particles or microscopic particles present in the circular orbits. Okay, when particles revolve around a circular orbits, they possess a angular momentum. So according to Bohr, angular momentum mvr is equal to n into h by 2 pi. N can be different depending upon the which energy level it present in it. Finally, what he has explained is energy possessed by electron, energy of an electron in a stationary state. Stationary state means in a particular state, how much is the energy possessed? E is equal to minus RH 1 by n square. Here it can be En. En means in the nth level. It can be n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, like that. Okay, in the nth level, energy of an electron in that particular energy level, that is the particular energy level or orbit, you can say, or a shell, you can say. Okay, so En is equal to minus RH 1 by n square. Here RH is the Rydberg constant. RH is a constant only, Rydberg constant. RH is equal to 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18 joules. So this RH is the Rydberg constant for hydrogen atom. Okay, so you can put this value as 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18 instead of minus RH. You will get nth orbit. What is the energy possessed by an electron? So children, these are the postulates given by Bohr. First is electrons revolving in a circular orbits, as we have discussed just now. Energy of an electron does not change with the time. Means when it is revolving in a particular orbit, they do not change its energy, but they can absorb energy and they can go into a higher energy level, that is called excited state. Okay, and when they are revolving in the stationary states, those stationary states are called ground states. Okay, ground state and excited state. Ground state means that minimum energy that electron possesses. Okay, and when after absorbing the energy, they will go into the higher energy levels called excited energy. Okay, now these energy levels are numbered as K, L, M, N, etc. Or we can also number in 1, 2, 3 like that. Then energy levels are permitted with having an angular momentum. MVR is equal to NH by 2 pi. Okay, you can calculate for when n is equal to 1, that is h by 2 pi, or n is equal to 2. We can when n is equal to 2, you can put it in the formula, that is 2 into h divided by 2 into pi. So 2 and 2 will cancel, so you will get h by pi. Okay, so then it can be 3 by 2 h by pi, you can say, in case of MVR is equal to in the third energy level. Okay, that is n is equal to 3. So energy for an electron in the stationary state can be calculated as En is equal to minus RH 1 by n square. Here in this minus symbol explains the this one, what it called electrons charge only. Charge of electron is negative. Isn't it? Children, next we shall discuss about achievements of Bohr model. Okay, first achievement was it could explain the stability of atom. Stability of atom, Bohr could explain little more clearly, because one of the main drawback of Rutherford's model was it could not explain the stability of atom, isn't it? While revolving electrons in the circular path, they may radiate energy and fall into the nucleus. That was one of the main failure of Rutherford's model. So Bohr could clearly explain about the stability of atom. That is the first point. Second one we have is it is used for explaining Balmer's formula. So this is another achievement of Bohr's theory. It is used to explain Balmer's formula. Let's see how it is. That is, according to Bohr's theory, En is equal to, what is En? En is the energy in the nth state, that is minus RH into 1 by n square. This is what the formula derived by Bohr. Okay, and you have studied that electron can jump from a lower energy level, that is called ground state, to an excited state. So how much is the change in energy comes delta E. Delta E means a small change in the energy. That is how can we find the energy change is energy in the final state, that is EF minus energy in the initial state. What is the energy possessed by the electron in the initial stage, and if you know the energy of electron possessed in its final state, you can easily calculate how much energy the electron absorbed to reach to the final state, isn't it? So that change in energy is called delta E. Delta E means the change, that small change in energy which took place while moving the electron from lower energy state to the higher energy state. That is energy in the final state minus energy in the initial state. That is, when you apply the formula, if you take it as energy in the final state, we can write minus RH into 1 by n in its final state, its square, minus RH into 1 by Ni square. Ni means that is the energy in the initial state. So this I have just substituted here. Okay, this is the energy in the final state and this is the energy in the initial state. This let me explain here. That is RH into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. Okay, RH I have taken into constant, and here minus of minus comes, that's why RH I have taken the other side. RH is common and Ni square minus Nf square. Here RH is the what is RH? RH is the Rydberg constant. Let me put the value of RH. RH is 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18, and RH is equal to 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18. Therefore, you can put in this formula, that is equal to 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18 into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. That is the initial energy state minus the final 1 by final energy. Now children, as you have studied, frequency of emissions E is equal to h nu, you know. So here you can write therefore delta E is also equal to h nu, right? Then nu is equal to delta E divided by h, correct? That is equal to delta E is our this one, what we call 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18 into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square divided by h will come, correct? That is the Planck's constant. Now if I put the Planck's constant here, that is 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18 divided by 6.626 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule seconds into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. That is equal to 3.29 into 10 raised to 15. That is the calculated value of this one into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. Now children, this value is the frequency of radiation. This is our now what we have find out is this is the frequency of radiations. So children, we know that frequency. Now what we have find out is the frequency of radiation. Frequency nu is equal to what we have got here is 3.29 into 10 raised to 15 into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. This formula, when you apply in according to wave number nu bar is equal to nu by C, correct? Now nu we have, this is our nu that we should put it in the formula, that is 3.29 into 10 raised to 15 into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square divided by, this is C is what is C? C means C is the velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, correct? Now by putting it in the formula, we get 1.09677 into 10 raised to 7 into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. Children, you remember this value which we have also studied in the Balmer's formula. Okay, so this is what is the one of the main characteristic feature, we can say. Bohr theory could explain the Balmer formula. So this formula, what we have here, this is the Balmer's formula. Balmer's formula is 1 by lambda, that is actually our wave number. 1 by lambda is equal to wave number 1 by lambda is equal to 1.09677 into 10 raised to 7 into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square in the meter inverse. Okay, so children, the rest of the part we will put up in the next module. Thank you and have a nice day.